I don't have any information to suggest that there's any concerns for public safety. I do request the public to call us if they have information in relation to this complex.
A 42-year-old man is dead following an early morning shooting in North York. It happened at a residence above a business in a plaza near Weston Road and Albion. Good evening. Police received the call shortly before 5:30 a.m. and say the victim was pronounced dead at the scene.
So far, they have not provided any details about possible suspects and are asking members of the public who may have information to come forward. CTV's Beth McDonnell has been following the investigation and joins us live now with more. And Beth, I'm told that police just recently identified the victim.
That's right, Raheem. Toronto police have identified the victim as Lloyd Alexander Hastings of Toronto. Some family members were here at the scene today briefly. Police have been investigating this shooting for more than 12 hours now, and there are still a lot of questions. On the roof, inside the plaza with apartments, and out front, Toronto police officers worked the crime scene collecting video surveillance. Shortly before 5:30 Monday morning, they were called to the Weston Road address just north of Albion Road in North York for a shooting.
A male in his 40s was located suffering from a gunshot.
Police have identified the victim killed as Lloyd Alexander Hastings. They say the 42-year-old was shot inside a residence above a store. Emergency responders tried to save him, but he died at the scene.
It's our forensics officers that are in here. Our scene is locked down. As you can very well see, there's yellow police tape all over. Our forensic officers are in the process of collecting the evidence that we need.
So far, police are not commenting on how many people were with Hastings, information on a possible suspect or suspects, or who called 911. Some people living nearby say there have been problems at the plaza in the past with noise, music, and gatherings of people who come from outside the area, but it's not clear if anything like this was underway when the shooting took place.
And I want to find out what happened over there because we are neighbors, we scared, you know.
Well, it's a little bit unsettling, of course. I mean, it's like you prefer not to have any of these things happening in your neighborhood, but this is Toronto.
Naturally, it's an awful thing. And especially when it's so close to your own residence.
Police say there are no immediate public safety concerns, but are anxious to get to the bottom of the deadly shooting and are appealing for witnesses to come forward.
I do request the public to call us if they have information in relation to this complex, in relation to the shooting, or if they were here possibly the night before, anything that they feel would be suspicious in nature or anything out of the ordinary.
Officers say they're reviewing the video already gathered, hoping to quickly identify whoever is responsible for taking Hastings' life. Hastings' killing is Toronto's 12th homicide of the year. Reporting live, I'm Beth McDonnell. Raheem and Pauline, back to you.
Thank you, Beth. The Toronto Catholic District School Board is confirming the children killed in the collision in Etobicoke yesterday were students within the board. The crash happened around 12:30 a.m. on Sunday on the eastbound off-ramp from Highway 401 to Renforth Drive. Police say a silver Dodge Caravan was traveling at a high rate of speed, lost control, and struck a black Chrysler minivan carrying 6 people. A 15-year-old and 13-year-old were pronounced dead at the scene, while a 6-year-old died in hospital. A 10-year-old child and 2 adults were taken to hospital with serious injuries. 19-year-old Ethan LaHoulier of Georgetown was arrested at the scene. He is facing a dozen charges, including impaired driving causing death in connection with the incident.
We are appealing to the public, is anyone with any information prior to this collision traveling eastbound on 401 with any observations of this Dodge Caravan to come forward and provide us if you have any dash cam or any eyewitness account of your observations.
Premier Doug Ford offered his thoughts on the crash on social media, writing, "I'm heartbroken by the tragic and senseless deaths of 3 young children. My thoughts are with the families grieving this unimaginable loss of life. The person responsible for this heinous act needs to face the harshest punishment possible."
And still to come, the city will be marking Victoria Day with its annual fireworks display at Ashbridges Bay Park. We'll have more on that event a little later in our newscast. Pain, heartbreak, despair, they're all emotions Leafs fans are feeling today after the team was eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs last night.
If losing the game wasn't bad enough, the way it happened was extremely tough to watch for both the fans and players, all of whom are left wondering, what's next? It's a familiar feeling of disappointment, and Maple Leafs faithful made sure to show their frustration as Game 7 turned into a blowout. The home crowd voicing their heartbreak for a team that has once again failed to meet playoff expectations. The Leafs gave up a 2-0 series lead before fighting back from elimination, only to get stunned in the deciding game at the hands of the Florida Panthers.
It's annoying, it's disappointing for sure. I mean, you're so excited every year and then this kind of like always happens.
Typical Leafs fashion, blow it.
Cold feet, I don't know what's going on. They really had a horrible 5 minutes of just trying to get the puck out of the way. It was like amateur hockey. It looked like I'd never seen that before. History continues to repeat itself for the Leafs. This is their 7th straight loss in a winner-take-all game.
The moment's not too big. For me, it's all between the ears. It's a mindset. These guys are capable of doing it. You just got to execute it, and we didn't execute it.
I just thought we had too many passengers throughout the rest of the game and just weren't on the same page.
Captain Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner have had a front row seat to the team's playoff shortcomings. The pair have combined for 0 goals in their 6 Game 7s played together. For Marner, who was born in Markham, Ontario, and John Tavares, who's from Mississauga, this may have been their final game in a Leafs jersey. They're both eligible to become unrestricted free agents this summer.
Obviously a very good team that's done a lot of good things, just haven't broken through. So, never going to quit, never going to stop trying. So, I'd love another opportunity.
It took maybe a risky pick on a small kid from Toronto, and I've been forever grateful to be able to wear this Maple Leaf and be a part of some of the great legends here and be able to wear this jersey. So I've never taken a day for granted and always loved it.
With the Leaf season now over, the focus shifts to the future. And the same question from seasons past is being asked. Is it time to break up the Leafs core, who have played together for nearly a decade?
Up top, there was the decision to keep the core 4. And I think now we can know pretty confidently that was the wrong decision.
The Leafs star players have faced severe scrutiny throughout their tenure in Toronto. While there is no doubt about their offensive firepower during the regular season, the Leafs have won just 2 postseason matchups in 21 years.
You can have great ingredients, but you can't cook with an oven that doesn't ignite. And this oven is not ignited for a long time.
Suggesting it may be time to look for a different spark. The city is celebrating Victoria Day this evening with its annual fireworks display at Ashbridges Bay Park. The display will begin at 10 p.m. and last for roughly 14 minutes. Police are warning about an increased presence in the area. They are reminding people who want to set off their own fireworks that they are allowed to do so on private property before 11 p.m. They are not allowed in parks, beaches, parking lots, or streets and cannot be ignited on balconies. Meanwhile, Cafe TO has officially kicked off with more than 280 curb lane patios, 550 sidewalk cafes, and 700 private patios across the city. The outdoor dining program runs through October.
The TTC is offering an explanation about a common customer complaint, slow zones on the subway. The transit agency is sharing a new video taking customers behind the scenes and explaining why the slow orders are put in place. The TTC says it has 141 kilometers of track and related infrastructure. It says regular maintenance and inspections help uncover minor issues, which may not require service to shut down completely, but still require trains to operate more slowly while those repairs take place.
I know slow subways are frustrating, and I apologize for the inconvenience. No one wants to spend more time in transit than they absolutely have to, and we certainly don't want that for you. Unfortunately, they are necessary. And I promise we are doing everything we can to minimize their impact and address the repairs as quickly as possible.
There are currently several slow zones in place across both Line 1 and Line 2, including both ways between St. Clair and Davisville stations. And the TTC is running on a holiday schedule today, while GO Transit will be operating on a Saturday schedule. There will be increased service on the TTC Line 2, as well as bus and streetcar service in the East End to accommodate people heading to Ashbridges Bay Park for the fireworks display this evening.
We'll have more news in a moment, but first here's a live look at the city tonight. The sun is still shining and conditions are looking great for the fireworks this evening. Let's take a look at the satellite radar. We can show you that conditions are clear, not much cloud cover in and around the city as well. We are going to get some active weather closer to Wednesday. We'll have those details in a little bit. Right now, the winds, 30 kilometers per hour in Toronto. These are the sustained winds, not gusts. Other areas like London and Kingston, much calmer, 13 and 19 degrees respectively. Current temperatures, 14 degrees in Niagara Falls, 10 in Bancroft, and 9 degrees in Owen Sound. At the islands, as I mentioned, the sun is still shining, 14 degrees, Pearson Airport, similar conditions. Tonight, our overnight low will be 5 degrees with a light wind. 5-degree overnight low, that is significantly cooler than what is normal for this time of year. And as we're going to see later on in the newscast, our daytime highs are also below normal. Pauline.
All right. Canada Post says it has received strike notices from the Canadian Union of Postal Workers. The notices cover both the urban and rural and suburban mail carriers bargaining units. The notice indicates that CUPW intends to begin strike activity at midnight on Friday, May 23rd. Canada Post says its operations continue as normal. The Crown Corporation says a labor disruption would impact millions of Canadians. The strike notice comes after postal workers were ordered back to work in December following a lengthy job action last year. World leaders, including Canada's Prime Minister, attended the formal inauguration of Pope Leo XIV in Vatican City yesterday.
CTV's Abigail Beeman has more on the official start of the new pontificate.
Riding the Pope-mobile for the first time into St. Peter's Square, Pope Leo XIV greeted a crowd estimated at 200,000.
Di unità, di comunione.
His inaugural homily called for unity and a rejection of hatred, saying this is the hour of love. Absorbing that message, this 9-member, 3-generation family visiting the Vatican from Toronto.
For me, it's really such a blessing. It was already such a blessing for all of us to be able to come here in the first place and to be here with the new Pope.
Leading the official Canadian delegation, Prime Minister Mark Carney, who, along with his wife and daughter, briefly met the new Pope after Mass.
It was a great privilege for me to represent Canada at the inaugural Mass.
Carney is a practicing Catholic, but says that won't influence his policies, only his decision to be there in the first place.
I feel because of that responsibility, a sense of service, which is one of the reasons why I put myself forward. It does not have an influence on the politics, or the policies, I should say, the policies that the government follows.
He's at home spiritually, that, this is the Roman communion. But he's there both as Mark Carney and as the Prime Minister. And as the Prime Minister, he will be interested in finding points of convergence between Vatican foreign policy and Canadian foreign policy.
For the crowd of Catholics filling St. Peter's Square Sunday, the inauguration of the pontificate left its mark.
This is what, hopefully we'll all remember, and the kids will remember this for, the rest of their lives, that they were here not just with, their siblings and their parents, but also all 4 grandparents.
Staff leading the Canadian delegation into place at the inaugural Mass held up Canadian flags to keep the delegation together as they moved through the crowd, a small Canadian mark on an event with people from all over the world. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Vatican City.
During his overseas trip, Prime Minister Mark Carney announced that Canadians will get a federal budget this fall.
It's a major reversal after the finance minister stated the government would only be providing a fall economic statement. CTV's Colton Prail reports.
The Liberals spent days defending the unusual decision not to release a federal budget this year.
Try it again.
Now the Prime Minister is changing that tune.
We will have a much more comprehensive, effective, ambitious, prudent budget in the fall. You do these things right.
That message made Sunday during Carney's trip to Italy for the Pope's inaugural Mass in stark contrast to the finance minister Wednesday, when he only promised a fall economic statement.
We live in a very unpredictable world in terms of the macroeconomic picture we're having.
Carney says his budget needs to wait for more certainty and stability with the United States, and after a summer session of the House of Commons, where he hopes to begin making government more efficient.
He's entitled to take a little time to get it right, but he's not entitled to wait till next year.
But others argue the volatility created by American tariffs is why Canadians need an immediate economic snapshot.
We need some sort of document, even if it is relatively lean, that lays out what the government's broad plans are.
Carney says there's one other summer holdup: NATO meetings in June, amid reports of the alliance's desire to increase member spending targets to 5% of GDP by 2032. Carney downplayed that threshold.
What are we getting? And then working backwards to what it costs, not starting with a number or a percentage that is a cost, and then try to figure out how to spend it.
Defense experts say that even 5% may not be enough to revitalize the Canadian Armed Forces to on par with our NATO allies.
A lot of the spending is just going to just making things operate, and a lot of the stuff is just obsolete. And so our allies look at that and they rightly say, well, you're not actually doing that much.
While in Rome, Mark Carney met with U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance. The two discussed trade policies amidst the ongoing tariff dispute. Colton Prail, CTV News, Ottawa.
Former U.S. President Joe Biden has broken his silence following a cancer diagnosis.
The 82-year-old was diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer on Friday. Biden posted a picture of himself and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden, on X, writing, "Cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I have learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support." Prime Minister Mark Carney replied to that post, writing, "President Biden, I'm thinking of you, the former First Lady, and your family today. You've always had a deep commitment to family and faith, and I'm hopeful that both will carry you through this." Donald Trump says Russia and Ukraine will, quote, immediately start negotiations toward a ceasefire.
The U.S. president made that declaration after a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin today. CTV's Kamil Karamali now with a look at what Trump is promising if the two sides find long-term peace.
The call between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin lasted roughly around 2.5 hours, with Trump saying Russia will now begin negotiations with Ukraine towards a ceasefire and an end to the war. In a social media post, Trump said the conditions of a ceasefire would be negotiated between the two parties and that the tone and spirit of the conversation was excellent. After the war is over, Russia wants to do large-scale trade with the United States. Trump saying it's an opportunity to create massive amounts of job and wealth, and that Ukraine can also be a great beneficiary of trade. Negotiations between Russia and Ukraine will begin immediately. Putin, speaking to reporters in Sochi, said he's willing to work on a memorandum on a possible future peace agreement, but provided no details. Trump said he also had several other conversations on the topic today, including with leaders from France, Italy, Germany, and Finland, and also made a call to Ukraine President Vladimir Zelensky, who says he told Trump not to make any decisions about the war, quote, without us.
We know that there was supposed to be a meeting just last week between the two leaders where Vladimir Putin was a no-show. And I think if Donald Trump can actually get the two leaders in a room to begin negotiations, I think that'll be a huge political win for him.
Trump also said Pope Leo XIV would be, quote, very interested in hosting the Ukraine-Russia negotiations at the Vatican, but did not say when that might happen. Kamil Karamali, CTV News, Toronto.
At the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV received an invitation today to visit the United States.
He and I had a very good conversation with Secretary Rubio this morning. We talked about a number of diplomatic issues, and I think the Vatican, in particular the Pope, is going to be a great advocate of world peace, and obviously I serve a president I think is a great advocate of world peace, and so we're going to find some very important things to work together on.
U.S. Vice President J.D. Vance met with the first American pontiff. He presented a letter to the Pope from Donald Trump and the U.S. First Lady. The Chicago native put it on his desk and was heard saying, "At some point." The Vatican says there was an exchange of views on some international issues today and a call for respect for humanitarian law and international law in areas of conflict. Vance led the American delegation to the Pope's Inauguration Mass yesterday.
Israel says it will provide minimal humanitarian aid to people in Gaza as its renewed military offensive in the enclave intensifies.
ולכן החלטנו לתת סיוע מינימלי תוך כדי המלחמה.
Israeli officials say a limited amount of food will be allowed into Gaza. They say distribution points will be set up over the coming days, allowing American companies to provide food and medicine to civilians. That would mark the end of an 11-week blockade, which has brought Gaza to the brink of famine.
The items to be supplied immediately include flour to the main bakeries operated by international organizations in the Gaza Strip, supplies of items to central kitchens operated by international organizations, baby food, and medical supplies.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a starvation crisis would jeopardize his country's military offensive against Hamas. Israel began ground operations across Gaza this weekend in an effort to free remaining hostages still held by Hamas.
Today, the leaders of the UK, France, and Canada warned they will act if Israel does not stop its renewed military offensive and lift aid restrictions. A joint statement reads in part, the Israeli government's denial of essential humanitarian assistance to the civilian population is unacceptable and risks breaching international humanitarian law. The leaders also say, we oppose any attempt to expand settlements in the West Bank, and we will not hesitate to take further action, including targeted sanctions. They describe the level of human suffering in the Gaza Strip as intolerable. 21 countries are calling on Israel to fully resume allowing humanitarian aid delivery.
Still to come, pounding the pavement in High Park.
Runners took to the trails to raise money for a good cause.
3, 2, 1, go!
And we'll have more on the Victoria Day Royal Race when we come back.
I'm Pat Foran. Coming up on Consumer Alert, the warm weather has arrived and it's time to make sure you're stocked up on sunscreen. New research shows not all brands are created equal. We have the latest tests. That story is just ahead.
Well, if you're spending any time outdoors, you should be wearing sunscreen to protect your skin from the sun's harmful rays.
When it comes to buying sunscreen, there are more than 100 different products to choose from. Researchers recently put them to the test. Here's Pat Foran with Consumer Alert.
Sunscreen offers excellent protection against skin cancer and premature aging of the skin, so it just makes sense to wear it when you're spending time outdoors. We have a checklist to help you get ready for the sunny weather ahead.
If you plan to spend a lot of time in the sun, it's recommended you use a sunscreen with an SPF of at least 30. SPF, which stands for Sun Protection Factor, is a measure of how well a sunscreen protects against sunburn. Deciding between a lotion or a spray is a personal preference. What really matters is that you apply it correctly. Consumer Reports just tested over 100 sunscreens and revealed surprising gaps in how they protect you from the sun's cancer-causing rays.
We found major performance differences among sunscreens, even those that came from the same brand. And in some cases in CR's tests, the protection offered didn't match the SPF that's listed on the label.
It's not just about the SPF number on the bottle. For full protection, you need one that's labeled broad spectrum. That means it shields your skin against both UVA and UVB rays.
UVB rays primarily cause sunburn. UVA rays contribute to premature skin aging. Both types contribute to the risk of skin cancer.
After exhaustive testing on panelists and in the lab, Consumer Reports gave top marks to Coppertone Water Babies Lotion SPF 50, which earned high marks in both UVA protection and SPF performance. And if you prefer a spray, Eucerin Advanced Hydration Spray SPF 50 was also rated a good choice.
Even the best sunscreen can underperform if you don't apply it correctly, or you don't reapply it every 2 hours or immediately after swimming or sweating heavily.
When it comes to sunscreen protection, check the expiration date. Always shake before using. Make sure you use the proper amount. Don't forget commonly missed spots and reapply often. The overlooked spots include your ears, the back of your neck, the backs of your hands, and the tops of your feet. And it's best to apply sunscreen 15 minutes before heading outside.
Every time you get a sunburn, it ages your skin and it increases your risk for skin cancer, and a serious sunburn can be painful. So it's just a good habit to keep sunscreen handy and wear it whenever you're spending time outdoors. On your side, I'm Pat Foran.
If you have a consumer story idea, email us at alert@ctv.ca.
I was telling you during Pat's hack, my hot tip is wear a moisturizer with an SPF. That's what I do. You got a little Roche moisturizer with an SPF 50. You're good to go.
Kill two birds with one stone, right?
Yeah, exactly. Take a look at that shot behind us. Beautiful out on the water today. Hopefully some people got to enjoy some sun rays with some
good
sunscreen.
Sunshine today, good sunshine tomorrow, but
yes, that's the story. We are going to be dealing with some showers, and we'll get to that in just a second. Let's take a look at where we are right now. 13 degrees in the city of Toronto, 10 at Sudbury, and as you go more north, not surprising, it gets cooler. Both Peawanuck and Moosonee sitting at -1 degree. Tonight's lows, I mentioned this earlier, that our overnight lows are significantly cooler than what is normal for this time of year. In fact, Goderich, Waterloo, Owen Sound, just 1 and 2 degrees. Very cold tonight in those areas. When you wake up tomorrow, we'll be sitting at around 5 degrees at 5 a.m. and then we start to creep up 10 degrees by 9 a.m. and the sun is with us throughout the day, so make sure you get outside and enjoy that. Our highs are below normal, but we are still at a very comfortable 16 degrees tomorrow, and you're going to want to make sure you enjoy the sun tomorrow, because as we take a look at this forecast radar, you can see that the clouds start moving in throughout Tuesday. Tuesday's looking like a great day, but Wednesday in the afternoon, you saw right around 2, 3 in the afternoon, we see the showers start rolling in. Those yellow blobs, that is heavy rain with the chance of thunderstorms, and so Wednesday afternoon into the evening, this radar stops at 6:30 p.m. So it's going to be a wet one, so certainly make sure you have rain boots, rain jacket, the umbrella, everything handy for Wednesday. But tomorrow is looking pretty good for the school day forecast. 15 degrees by noon, and we creep up to 16 by 3 p.m. along with a light wind. Let's take a look at that 7-day forecast. We've talked about Tuesday. I told you that the showers roll in on Wednesday, and they continue both Thursday and Friday. Temperatures pretty steady, 11 degrees on Thursday, 15 on Friday, and then the sun returns for next weekend. Next Saturday, looking pretty great, and we get all the way up to 18 degrees next Sunday. Pauline.
Thanks, Raheem. Well, people were pounding the pavement in High Park today to raise money for the environment.
3, 2, 1, go!
The Victoria Day Royal Race included 5-kilometer and 2-kilometer runs along High Park's trails. Money raised from the event benefits the Toronto and Region Conservation Authority's environmental initiatives.
Running is one of the best cardio activities you can do for your health. It prolongs your life, and it really brings the community together because everyone's able to run. And although running is a solo event, I really think it's a team event because the overall atmosphere is unmatched compared to any other day. And everyone really pushes each other to be as good as possible.
The races got underway at 10 and 10:30 a.m. and wrapped up before noon.
This Victoria Day long weekend is already considered the unofficial start to summer by many, and there's no question that's the case for pickleball players. You either love or hate that sound. The East Toronto Pickleball Association launched its outdoor season down at Kew Gardens today with 80 players getting in the swing of it under sunny skies. The participants say the fast-growing game is as much about bringing together friends and neighbors as it is about the sport itself.
Pickleball is all about community. It's about meeting people, It's, as you can see, it's a sport. It's doubles. People play 4 people on a court, so you get to know the other players really well. There's people on the sidelines. People come out and they play for a couple hours. They bring their picnic baskets and their lunch, and they get to know people. It's a very social community sport, which is an awesome thing at times like this.
The East Toronto Pickleball Association represents 700 pickleball enthusiasts of all ages and skill levels.
And to hockey now, the PWHL has scheduled its expansion draft for June 9th.
And it's floated it through. Monroe now sets it up, scores! Ellie Monroe!
The Toronto Scepters and the other original teams will be allowed to protect a total of 4 players each. The draft is being held to begin filling the rosters for the new Seattle and Vancouver franchises. But even before the expansion draft begins, both clubs will be able to add up to 5 players each during an exclusive signing window that starts on June 4th. Well, as the weather warms up, people are also heating up their grills.
CTV's Carol Charles has more on the top barbecue trends for 2025.
And there you have it.
A breakfast of champions.
Get some pepper.
All prepared on the grill. According to Barbecue Naz, this year the trend is about doing more with your grilling, keeping it outside and enjoying the weather. And having the right tools to get the right flavor.
Flat top grilling is unique because now you're getting more of the surface of the food is touching the flat top. When you flip it over, you're going to get the whole thing is going to be caramelized.
Let's start with the basics.
If you want to do pancakes on one or eggs, you want to do bacon or sausage or whatever it is you want to cook, you can actually control 2 different temperatures. And that's unique to flat top cooking.
And to keep the eggs and pancakes in form,
this is a portion controlled pancake mix holder. You put your pancake mix in here, you pull the lever, and the bottom opens up to how much of a pancake you want to drop in. I'm using these silicone fire resistant holders. They're round, so if you want to fit that egg on that muffin, these are perfect.
Rounding off a good brekkie, bacon.
You can put a weight on it and it stays down right on the griddle, again making more contact with the griddle, and you're going to get nice crispy bacon every time.
Adding a smoker box to your grill is another layer of flavor.
You take it and you put it right in the burner, and you turn your burner on, and that'll add smoke as an ingredient to your flat top cooking.
I prefer the sweet.
The sweet, this is good. You're going to love this. Yeah, let's put it in this.
If you're a fan of chicken wings, try this out. A stainless steel flat basket.
We remove the handle, shut the lid, and it cooks top and bottom at the same time. Great accessory, great add-on for doing more with your grill. How are they?
Delicious. 10 out of 10.
And this tool will work for a variety of meats.
That burger looks juicy.
Because it has all kinds of caramelization going on. Beautiful. When you put a smash burger on a flat top or your steak or whatever it is, protein that you're cooking, you flip it over, the whole protein, the whole food is caramelized, and that's nothing but flavor.
Now for a recap of the do's and don'ts of maintaining your grill.
Make sure this stuff gets cleaned off, the buildup. That's not good, because all you're going to do is cook it over and over, and the black smoke's going to go up to your food. They need to look like that.
Carol Charles, CTV News.
I can't believe Carol didn't bring any back for us. Selfish Carol. Come on.
She's a hungry woman.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, still to come, hunger is on the rise around the globe.
New data is outlining how many people are dealing with a lack of food.
Conflict. That's been the main driver. There's about 139 million people that are being placed into acute hunger as a result of conflict.
We'll have more on the data when we come back.
A new report on food crises around the world says global hunger has reached a new high.
The 3 main things that are causing it is, first of all, conflict. That's been the main driver. There's about 139 million people that are being placed into acute hunger as a result of conflict. Second one is extreme weather events. We're seeing climate change having major impacts in terms of how the weather works, and that's really impacting a lot of smallholder farmers who grow a lot of the food in the world, and also impacting many areas such as with droughts, floods and other. The third one is economic crises. We saw that during COVID, obviously. We still haven't fully recovered from that. We've seen a cost of living crisis here in Canada, as we well know, but the cost of living crises around the world is much, much higher.
Nearly 300 million people are at risk of starvation. That figure has doubled compared to 2020 and marks the 6th straight yearly increase in global hunger trends. Hearing loss becomes more common as people get older, but senior citizens in Quebec are calling for changes to the province's health plan.
It currently only covers a single hearing aid for seniors, even if they need two. CTV's Laurence Brizois-Dubreuil reports.
Mitzi Melnick-Richmond needs a hearing aid in both ears. For her, it's not optional.
It's embarrassing at times. And if you talk to me on the left side, I won't hear properly at all.
She says seniors deserve equal coverage. Right now, the province only pays for one device. She and other advocates want that changed. David Gelina calls the policy ageist.
We even call it discrimination against people of older age because there is no good reason for the RAMQ not to cover both hearing aids when there's hearing loss in both ears.
RAMQ used to cover 2 devices. Children still qualify, so do workers, students, and those with vision loss, but not seniors. A spokesperson says the Social Services Ministry and RAMQ are currently working on changes to the hearing aid program. Some seniors may qualify for a second device under certain conditions. Others have to pay thousands out of pocket, and Angelina says at least 25% of those can't afford it. And with hearing loss linked to increased risks of cognitive decline, including dementia, investing would save the province's healthcare money in the end.
If we have a good action and at some point reduce the rate of dementia at any point, every dollar invested in that sense is a very good investment.
He adds that hearing loss can hinder communication and lead to isolation. Melnick-Richmond knows that firsthand, and she says some people won't ask others to repeat themselves, worried they'll be a burden.
They just withdraw. And then they go into a bit of a depression.
Whether it's to prevent loneliness, reduce future strain on health services, or enjoy a private concert. She says hearing is essential to stay connected to the world. Laurence Brizois-Dubreuil, CTV News.
The NHL has announced that a competition featuring adoptable rescue dogs will return for the 2025 Stanley Cup Final. All 32 NHL teams will be represented by a 4-legged friend in the 90-minute Stanley Pup special. 90 minutes, wow. Okay, the pups will be available for adoption from a shelter or rescue group in the respective cities.
Aww,
it's a nice
so
initiative.
cute.
Still to come, an update of tonight's top stories.
And responding to natural disasters.
We're bringing together lots of researchers who are thinking how to manage crisis.
International leaders have gathered in Halifax to discuss ways to limit the damage. We'll have those details when we come back.
He was located at a residence just above one of these businesses here.
Updating our top stories, a 42-year-old man is dead following an early morning shooting in North York. It happened shortly before 5:30 a.m. at a residence above a plaza in the area of Weston and Albion Roads. Police have identified the victim as Lloyd Hastings. They have not provided any details on possible suspects and are appealing for anyone with information to come forward.
You just don't understand why and how this team can perform the way that they did, especially after staving off elimination.
Leafs Nation is dealing with disappointment once again. After the team was bounced from the Stanley Cup playoffs last night, the Buds fell 6-1 to the Florida Panthers in Game 7 of their second-round playoff series. Now questions are being raised about the future of the core four.
And the city will be celebrating Victoria Day this evening with its annual fireworks display at Ashbridges Bay Park. The display will begin at 10 p.m. and last for roughly 14 minutes. Police are warning about an increased presence in the area. They're reminding people who want to set off their own fireworks that they are allowed to do so on private property before 11 p.m.
And remember to keep up to date day and night through our website, ctvnewstoronto.ca, and by downloading the CTV News app. And if you have a news tip, photos, or video of breaking news, let us know. An international conference being held in Halifax is focused on the crisis response to natural disasters.
Experts from around the globe are working to figure out the best ways to limit the damage. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth reports.
It's a meeting of the minds in Atlantic Canada, tackling some of the most important issues of modern times.
It's nice that we have a relatively small group.
125 experts from more than 24 countries are taking part in the International Conference on Information Systems for Crisis Response and Management, sharing their best practices on how to manage and respond to natural disasters.
We are bringing together lots of researchers who are thinking how to manage crisis.
Wildfires, hurricanes, and flooding are all being examined. The Global Forum will review operational aspects of emergency planning, management, and evacuation to help communities and first responders be better prepared.
Trying to get the public aware of how they can help themselves and how they can take the expert guidance to make the outcome better for everybody.
Climate change is also a signature topic. Major storms are becoming more frequent, which means preparation methods need to be improved.
It's not about how to live with these new realities. Evacuation is only response time, but there is also reconstruction, recovery.
There's also a focus on ocean disasters. Experts have modernized strategies on how to provide emergency relief in remote offshore areas.
We look at the models around how would you position these resources so they can get to most people the fastest. Like where would you put an ambulance station or where would you put a fire station? Same idea, but at sea.
The conference will also feature a Halifax Harbor evacuation simulation put on by the Coast Guard and DND. It's designed to be a teachable moment to help better prepare for emergencies in this coastal community. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Netflix has inked a deal with Sesame Workshop to keep Sesame Street on the air. I mean, come on. That's pretty creative. That's good. The deal comes months after Warner Brothers Discovery stated it would not be renewing its deal for the long-running children's program. In a change from the previous deal, new episodes of Sesame Street will air on Netflix as well as PBS and the PBS Kids app, ensuring they are easily accessible. Season 56 will be released in 3 batches. Sesame Street has been available on PBS for more than 50 years. Still to come, changing perspectives on conservation.
A massive public art installation is hoping to open people's eyes about issues affecting the natural world.
When you meet a stampeding herd in the middle of what you think is familiar and day-to-day and mundane, I think you have to rethink certain assumptions.
And we'll have more on the project titled The Herds when we come back. I saw that last night as well. It's been described as the biggest public art installation ever, with a herd of life-size animal puppets traveling through forests and cities.
The journey spans 10 countries, with organizers hoping to teach an important lesson about conservation. CTV's John Venevelli-Rao reports.
Climate change poses a challenge to so many species, from mountain gorillas to giraffes. And while the world of late has seemed distracted by other concerns, a truly remarkable art project aims to remind us the animals are not all right.
Because the project is about climate awareness and about educating the world about the crisis that we're facing.
In a West African workshop, artists use bits of recycled cardboard and wood to assemble a world-first traveling display, simply called The Herds. Life-size puppets that, combined together, create a striking scene, one they hope will make people stop and think.
C'est aussi pour créer une réponse émotionnelle forte.
It's meant to provoke a strong emotional response, she says. People are confronted by wildlife that's in danger and fleeing. Indeed, here you see the puppet animals making their way through a city. one of 10 countries the artists plan to migrate the animals across. Over the next few months, traveling on land and water from Africa to the Arctic and visiting places like France and Norway. The puppets, each cleverly engineered to move realistically, and in each place reminding people they too are part of nature and that the natural world should come first.
So when you meet a stampeding herd in the middle of what you think is familiar and day-to-day and mundane, I think you have to rethink certain assumptions.
The group plans to make local species as they journey north, including wolves and reindeer. And by August, they expect to arrive with their herd in the Arctic Circle. John Vinavelli-Rao, CTV News.
Before we go, let's take one more look at the city. It is cool but comfortable right now with the sun still shining. Current temperatures, as we take a look at some of these boards, 13 degrees in the city of Toronto, 10 in Bancroft, 12 in London. For those heading out to go see the fireworks, it's going to be 11 degrees with a light wind at 20 kilometers per hour. So you'll certainly want to bring yourself a light jacket, but clear conditions so you can enjoy that. Tuesday is shaping up to be a beautiful day with sunshine at 16 degrees. Then prepare yourself because around Wednesday afternoon, the showers are going to start rolling in and they'll be with us throughout most of the evening as well on Thursday and Friday. And then the sun returns for next weekend. Pauline.
And be sure to join us tonight at 11 for CTV National News, followed by your next local newscast at 11:30.
In the meantime, our coverage continues anytime on CP24 and online at ctvnewstoronto.ca.
And for all of us at CTV News, thanks for watching and have a good night.
Thank you, Carter.